Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd have a look at this. I've bought myself a new soldering iron. It's nothing expensive, it's one of these, I think you pronounce it YIHUA, Chinese desoldering station, soldering stations. It's a 937D+, and I've heard fairly good reviews for them for what they cost. And this one was cheap. Paid £27 for it, plus I think it was about £4 postage. So around the £30 mark, including postage. And so from the reviews I've seen, they don't seem particularly bad. So I thought we'd set it up in this video, and we'll have a bit of a play with it and see how it does. The reason I've bought this is, although that Work Zone one that I bought and I did do a video on, it's a good soldering iron, to be honest, and I've not had an issue like I thought I would with the tips unscrewing. But it's just no good for very fine work. It's brilliant for working on all valve stuff and anything where you need a bit of heat. But if you're working on PCBs, even with the finest bit you can get for that iron, it's just not fine enough. So, like I said, I picked this up and we'll have a look at it and see what we think. Let's get in. I've not had this out of the box yet. This is I just opened the box and thought, oh right, great, we'll do a video on it. So, well, we've got plenty of Chinese on the manual, but at least we've got anti-static soldering station series instruction manual, and yeah, you always know it's a quality product when it's in Chinese first. So we've got the Chinese instructions, then we've got some English instructions, some safety rules, some warnings, tip maintenance, wiring diagram. That's interesting. We've got a wiring diagram down there showing how it all connects up to the power supply and what have you. Yeah, that's about it, I think, really. Looks like it's 24 volt iron. Let's get it out of here. A pack of tips, and we've got quite a nice selection of tips with it as well. Don't know what we'll use that one for, but let's have a look in here. If we look here, nice fine tips, very very fine, like needlepoint tip, standard, fairly standard tip. That's what I'd use for most stuff, really. Well, that fine one's lovely, like a chisel style tip there, and then we've got like a hot knife style blade tip. Again, looks rather. I've not had an iron with a tip like that on. That'll be interesting to. That might be quite good for doing surface mount stuff, actually. But that fine tip there could be very very handy. So yeah, so it's got a good selection of tips with it, and I've looked, and you can get a full pack of tips for one of these. More so than these in here. Like I think there's 5 in there. I think you can get 10 for like a tenner. So tips are reasonably cheap for it. No doubt this is going to be, basically, it'll be based on something else, or it'll be a copy of something else. Most of these Chinese ones are. So this is the power supply for it. Let's get that box out of the way. Ooh, got that lovely new plasticky smell. I'm sure it's not good for us, but yeah. That's nice to see from a Chinese product as well. Decent thick mains core, and it's hardwired in. Usually you get an IEC, but this is hardwired in. Obviously, probably a bit cheaper that. But actually a proper decent UK mains plug with a fuse. Let's check what fuse it's got in it. It should have something. Probably around a 5 amp fuse, I'd expect. Possibly a 3 or a 5. If there's a 13 in here, I will be disappointed. We got that. Got a 5 amp. brilliant. So correctly fused, decent UK spec plug, moulded plug, happy with that. Proper safety installation on the pins, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Transformer itself, it's smaller than I was expecting actually. It's quite a neat little unit. It's got a that's your temperature selector there, from 0 down there right up. I think I'm not sure what the top temperature on here is, probably around the 400 mark. You've got a little trimmer there as well. I think that's for calibrating it, for setting the actual temperature perfectly. Apparently it's ESD safe, at least it purports to be ESD safe. Power switch on the side there. Nothing else to it really. Plastic obviously, but yeah, it doesn't look bad. It's not bad. It'll fit on the desk okay. We've got a stand with it. Stands a little bit on the plasticky side, but I'm sure it'll do the job. In fact, it's very, very lightweight. I might use, if the handle fit the other stand that I've got, the one from that other soldering iron, I might actually use that. It's incredibly lightweight. That. We'll give the sponge a wet. Although I have sort of gone off using sponges a little bit. I dug this out from, can't remember where I got it from. I think I pinched it from work. But it's like a brass wool in a little thing. You can use that instead of a sponge for cleaning your tip. And I must admit I am starting to quite like that thing. We'll stick a little bit of water on there anyway, and at least give it a quick try. Just put a little drop of water on there and let it. Perhaps I'll need a bit more than that. Oops, spillage. Let's just get that spillage up. There we go. Mop up the spillage. So yeah, a little bit on the cheapy side, that stand. Let's have a look at the iron. Oh, and even the iron comes with a bit in it, so we've got 6 bits. Now that's more like it. The other thing with that other iron, that's the other iron. Look at the size difference, and I have found this is just a bit too big to hold when you try to do delicate stuff. That's much nicer. In fact, that's nicer than even my old Maplin one. Where's my old Maplin one gone? I think I threw that away, unfortunately. But that's nice. That's I quite like that actually. It doesn't feel particularly cheap, considering it is cheap. It don't feel bad at all. That it might actually be all right in this stand, being that the iron's so light. It's not too bad in that stand. Let's feel what the cable's like. The cable doesn't feel too bad either. It does feel like a silicon cable, which is what you really want on an iron, because obviously a silicon cable, you're not going to be melting it like you do with a. Wish it was a little bit on the longer side. It's not very long. It's under 1 metre long. That's a bit of a shame. I would prefer to have a longer lead on it. I suppose we could always make an extension lead for it and extend it a little bit. Standard 5-pin DIN on the end. Yeah, it don't feel bad. That don't feel bad at all. Let's we'll put that in there. Can you see this okay? Let's just perhaps zoom me down onto the iron a bit more. In fact, we can get the box out of the way now because there's nothing else in there. I really don't think we're going to need the instruction manual somehow. We'll put that there. Let's get you up on it so you can have a closer look. Plug that in there. That's alright, we'll plug it in on the bench. We'll have a better place to plug this in. But for now we'll plug it in there, switch on, switch on. Let's see if it works. Right, so let's have it at about, how high does it go? 480, that's more than enough. Let's have it at 400. 400 is a nice temperature. And you actually see, you set the temperature and then you actually see the temperature counting up on the, that's pretty damn quick. Now that's a fast warm up, I must admit. Wow, I weren't expecting it to warm up quite that quick. Let's tin the tip and see what it's like. That's hot. That's a nice hot iron. Oh yeah, that's quite good that. You can see how quickly that solder just melted on the end of that tip. That's nice. Right, let's see what we can do with it. I've got some scrap here. It's that board that we found that had been over voltage out of an old radio. So yeah, it was out of one of them Bush radios, so I think it had a bit of a voltage spike on it. It's got some blown capacitors on it. Let's see if we can take them capacitors off. So we'll get the old desoldering soldering iron in as well. Sorry, the desolder pump, and we'll see if we can whip them capacitors off here, just as a quick test. See how well it does at desoldering, because this is lead-free solder. In fact, you can't see that, can you? Let me zoom you in on what I'm working on. There we go. So it's just a bit of scrap out one of them old radios, but we'll see if we can take these. There's a capacitor. We'll take that lead off. There's a capacitor there, and there's a capacitor there which are blown. So we're not going to be repairing this, but just as a something to try. Let's desolder that wire first. There we go. And we're going to try adding a little bit of solder, because it's that horrible lead-free stuff used on here, and you can always find it a little bit easier if you add a little bit of proper leaded solder first. I've bridged the two pins together there, but it doesn't really matter. We've got some nice leaded solder on there. That's all that we're really looking at. Let's go in and have a suck. Oops. That seems to work. Yeah. That's free. There we go. Let's sort that out. Let's see if we've got a capacitor we can just stick in there, just to reapply one. It doesn't matter what it is. We've got something in one of these drawers we can just stick in. I know what I've got. Because I've got loads of them in the old capacitors anyway. I'll stick a capacitor back in there. And let's see how it resolders. Let's move you back in shot. So it took that old cap out, no problem. Let's see how well it'll resolder this new one. No, I'm liking this iron already. So I didn't think the other one was too bad until I tried to do some really neat soldering with it, and it was just wasn't up to wasn't up to doing really fine stuff. And this isn't the finest bit I've got in this, it's one of the less fine, well, it's one of the finer bits, but not the finest. And yeah, it's done a great job there. If you look, just trim them legs off. Oh yeah, I don't care about that capacitor really. Put them in my leg drawer. Where's my leg drawer? There it is. So yeah, that's worked. So we've replaced that capacitor. Nice neat job as well. So it's dealt with that horrible lead-free solder. It got that off, and we reapplied it with proper lead solder. But yeah, that worked. What I think we'll try doing now, I've got some bit of board there. I'll find a scrap IC or something, and we'll just try soldering an IC on that, or an IC socket or something with multiple legs. What have I got in here? Yeah, I've got an IC socket there, that'll do. And just try soldering that IC socket. Let me zoom you out while we, there we go, that's better. We'll just try soldering this IC socket there onto this bit of proto board, this bit of YIHUA board, strip board, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. Just as basically another quick test. Do something to hold that in position though. Stop it. This is one of the problems when you've got a small bit of board like that. If you notice it tips up, I don't know what we can do. There we go, that's better. Let's try this. Let's see if we can zoom you in, see if you can see a little bit better. Oops. Hopefully that's focusing alright on it. It's about the best I can get, unfortunately. Let's try, let's see how well this solders in anyway. That's fine. Oh yeah. You can see that. And I must admit I haven't cleaned this bit of strip board either. I should have really cleaned it with a bit of isopropyl at the very least before I started soldering to it, but the flux in this solder seems to be doing a good enough job. That one could do with doing a bit more. There we go, that's flowed. There we are. Do that one a bit more. Yeah, I could have really done with cleaning the board. There's a bit of impurities coming off it. I made the best of jobs there, but that's good enough. It's soldered. Oops, sorry, you can't see that, can you? That's good. Oh, just do that one at the end a bit more. I mean, to be fair, possibly one of the finer bits in. I'll just get the bits out and show you in a bit more detail what we've got. Okay, these are the bits that come with it. You can see that all right. Now the bit that I've just been using, the one that's actually fitted in the end of the end of the iron here, is that one there. Hopefully it's not focusing very well, unfortunately. I don't know what I can really do about that. So I can bring it away. Right there. You see that one? I would have possibly actually been better off with that really fine one like that to do that, or perhaps even that that flattened off one like that. I quite like a bit like that sometimes for these, because you can go in at an angle. Zoom you out a little bit. Basically, you can with one of them flat ones, you can go in at a good angle like that and then feed in. Or that really tiny little pointy one there. That's the one that I'm guessing I'll probably use that one, the one that's actually in there, and that very, very fine pointy one there more than anything else. That one though is quite interesting. You see that very flat. I mean, it's angled, but it's got it's like a knife blade at the end. That might be really handy for doing surface mount ICs, you know, for actually doing a drag solder on surface mount ICs, because you could literally get in like that. Let's try my other way. Oops. I'm left-handed and my camera's on the left-hand side, so it just makes this really this tricky to show things like this. But with it being like that, I wonder if it would be okay for doing drag soldering on an IC like that. Because you get quite a few pins at once, and with a decent flux on there, that's fine. So yeah, that's what comes with it. I mean, initial thoughts, actually, I am quite impressed, especially for what it cost. Yeah, zoom you out a bit. You know, for what the thing cost, which wasn't a huge amount of money, you know, 30 quid delivered, like, it wasn't bad at all. It's actually, you know, we've got 6 tips with it in that, the stand, you know, the supply and everything. And I'm actually quite surprised with the iron. I like that iron a lot. Like I say, it's neat. It feels quite nice in the hand as well. It doesn't feel as bulky and as cumbersome as this one. So this is still a great iron, and you know, for when I'm doing like heavy valve stuff, I'll probably still use this, because it's just easier when you're working on valve stuff, and I think you get a bit more thermal mass on this. I don't know yet. I'll try that on some valve stuff, see whether it's got the power in it. But then again, we'll see how this behaves on like desoldering on some of them ground planes on some of the old computers. That's going to be a real test for it. If it can succeed on some of them, then it's going to be a bloody good iron. I think it's rated to about 60 watts, so it's, you know, it's not. I think my other one's rated at 50 watts, so it might just have that little bit more oomph in it. We'll see. I've actually got a board on its way. I picked up an old C64 bread bin, early bread bin motherboard, main board off eBay, dirt cheap. I think I paid £7.50 for it. It's got a few ICs missing. I presume it'll have the SID missing, and it's got a fault on it. I think it's one of the CIAs that's faulty on it. I think I've probably got all the ICs I need to get it in working order, and I wanted an old the old bread bin board, because I've got quite a few TED chips, not TED chips, what are they called now, SID chips, for the early C64s, and I've actually only got a working C64C. So I can't use that really. Well, I could make adapters up and things, but I don't want to do that. I want a proper bread bin C64 board. So obviously I've got one of them on the way. So we'll be doing some videos probably in the future on fixing that. So hopefully a decent iron like this will come in handy for that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I've already rambled on long enough. Like I say, it wasn't like a paid review or anything. I did pay my own money for this thing. I just thought I'd show what I've got and give my first impressions on it. So I hope you enjoyed that. thanks for watching and goodbye.